Hey, so I want to talk about rhythms of growth group. And so let me talk about why I'm bringing up this idea of rhythms. When we first brought in the idea of growth groups, there were really four elements of growth group that we thought were necessary for a group to be functioning. One was just this idea of relationship building, togetherness, interacting with one another. Intentional interaction is how we described it. Having intentional interaction, whether that's a planned game, planned food, you need some type of intentional way of getting people to connect with one another. Then we had content. In other words, there was some type of discussion around content, and the content would need to be from the Bible or from a biblically based study that your group may be doing, but you need some type of content discussion, okay? Then the third element we had was prayer. You need to have some time for prayer. And then the fourth element was getting smaller, even in your group. Though it's a small group, getting even smaller so that you can have private kind of one-on-one or couple-to-couple type conversations. So those are four wonderful things to try to do during growth group. The difficulty is sometimes you can't get all four of those every single time. And in fact, if you try to do all four of those elements in every meeting, it can feel really pressured. It can feel like you're just doing a program, and it doesn't feel relational. It doesn't feel like you're able to really connect. It feels like you're kind of, forcing things down through a schedule. So it could be that it's better for your group to do some type of rhythm. And so maybe you meet twice a month, maybe you meet 3 times a month, but you decide, hey, here's how we're gonna break this up. We're gonna do more of that intentional connecting on the first gathering of the month, with some prayer. So you do intentional connecting, maybe you have a game or just the food aspect, and then just fellowship, and then you spend some time praying together. Then the second time you meet during the month, you maybe do a little bit more of that study. You spend more time in the Bible study or more time in the discussion of the content. And then you move from there into maybe getting smaller and praying together in smaller groups. So you can have some of that more private conversation type feel if that's needed. But those are just some of the rhythms. Now, but there's other rhythms as well you could get into. It could be that your group has, a dozen kids and they're all young, and it's just really, really hard to get good quality discussion time with anybody. And then it's even more difficult to get any type of smaller time, because just with all the kids and parents are swapping times, babysitting, in the other room next to you or out in the backyard or down in the basement. So it could be that the rhythms you get into are more for facilitation of your whole group life. So maybe the first time you meet, you have everybody all together for food. And then the second time you meet, you have just the ladies meet. Then the next time you meet, you get everybody together again. And then the following time you meet, you get just the men together. That way there can be some type of, rotation with the children, so that not everybody feels the pressure of, getting everybody in the car, everybody to the hosting location every time, and then trying to figure out how to do the babysitting and the kids and all that kind of stuff. So there's different rhythms you can get into like that. Now, it could be that your group meets more than twice a month. Rhythms are really, really needed then. And it could be that your group has a time, maybe once a quarter, where your group intentionally tries to serve within the community or within the body. And so that could be part of your rhythms. Maybe you're writing notes to nursery workers, or just to try and encourage them, or maybe you're helping out with some of the senior care in our church. There's different opportunities to serve in different ways you can serve, but you can get creative about that. But create some type of rhythms, ways in which you accomplish all of the goals, all of the objectives, without feeling like you have to force it, so that every time you meet, it's like, okay, we got 10 minutes for fellowship and 15 minutes for discussion and 10 minutes for prayer, and then another 15 minutes to connect, and then we got to go. And it feels forced and tight and hard to do that. So, just think through how can you break up the different ways in which you want to accomplish growth groups and accomplish the purpose. Remember the purpose: care and facilitation of discipleship relationships. If you can figure out how to do that and do that in some type of rhythms, that might be the best for your group.